Hey guys, welcome. Today we're gonna take a look at the task 2 and what I did for the solution. So it is just a little thing here, but I had my problems with it. So what I'm preparing here right now is some good old Chinese pu'er tea because I have to get a little bit a kick of it to get going with that. It's rather a dense topic, I would say, because I try to also incorporate the things I learned in the other lessons. So yeah, we will just go over it and just yeah. So I will show you quickly the repository. So this is just like a normal repository you can find also on the other exercises. And you see that I have done a README, which is not perfect, but it serves its purpose. It just writes down the exercise goals. So what did we what did I try to do here, or what should I try to do? It was create a Python program that interacts with GitHub. It should count all stars of the repositories that you have, or a specified user or organization. Then you should print details about a user, and also one of the following. Either modify your user description by adding a T emoji and a heart, or you're just setting your user status. And actually that task was nuts for me because I spent a couple of hours doing that. But I learned some things here, and it was quite cool in the end. But it was it was something that you don't want to. Well, actually, that's not quite fair. It's something you can enjoy, but it also something which brings you a little bit of pain and suffering. But those two together, they're quite often together in life, I think. But not going too philosophical here. But I have this one sentence in my head about nothing what is worth obtaining is you get without a cost. So you have to suffer to get something which is also worthy. And so learning is sometimes suffering, and it's very often like that. But on the other side, you can also enjoy that part, because it's, if you just accept that it is part of the process, and then it's just another day. And I would recommend just going with that mindset, not to overstate it and not also to ignore it. So there's suffering, but it's okay. All right, focus point. The end user should have an easy time doing that, and also integrate previous lessons as much as makes sense. Well, all right, so previous lessons, I will just also open that on that front, because that we can see what lessons did we cover. So package management. Well, easy route here, poetry, task, the same stuff as in exercise 1, which is a great combination. I had some problems with that, to be fair, because on this machine, which is now I'm not now using again because I was doing that on my laptop, this machine had a poetry version older than, I think, 1.2. And this happened to have problems because the configuration file could not be read in the old version, because group dependencies is a new thing. And so you have to update that and make sure that you're on a updated poetry version. But besides that, it's as easy as with the old version. And it's just simply like, if you here, this is in the repository. And I will just open a new terminal. And if you just do a task install, it will just execute the poetry install process. And you can also see this no root is just because it will not work without that in the Ubuntu machine when in the GitHub Actions stuff. So this is just because of that. But it will install that in a virtual environment. You can use it. It's that easy. And so this is covered. Then git ignore. I have a git ignore file with Python and all the other files I want to add here. So I curated this file. Linter formatted type checks. Actually, like type checks, I'm not quite so sure if I did that completely, but I had done my linting and also task file for sure. Yeah, so in the formatter, black format is also enabled again. License, typical MIT again. Also, I did something about the SBOM, which is also there. And because there's a problem with material and this MKDocs or MD-BOM, this MD-BOM has a problem with the material template which is used in the documentation, which is another lesson which comes here. But the SBOM cannot be integrated, and I went for a different template just because of that. Continuous integrations, well, all right, I have a GitHub workflow, so just to cover with that. So with automated testing, linting, formatting, it's all there. And pre-commit hooks, I tried that, and I also have done it locally, but with pre-commit, the package, I had my problems, and I left that. Unit tests, I have unit tests, but not that much, just because, yeah, it was rather tedious and there was no point really in learning something about that. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and Cody will beat the shit out of me for that. But yeah, just keep in mind that it's not completely done here. And then docs is done. Comments and changelog we did not do yet. CLI we did not do yet, and Git workflow we did not do yet. So that's it. A quick overview about what I was able to implement. And now about how did I implement it. Let's jump into it and just look at the code, for example. All right, so we can see, yeah, actually, I changed something in the code, and now the linter is not happy. And that's all right. So, okay, let's go into it. So at the bottom, you can see that the main method is just simply an app call. And what did I do to just incorporate the CLI style, like the command line interface? I'm not quite sure. There's for sure multiple possibilities, but I did go with Typer. Typer is a package you can use for building such easy CLI tools. And I happen to like Typer a lot. So you can see it here. That's Typer. And you can see now that you have a flag for a command here, which is called, for example, here the app command. So this is regarded as a command. And you can just, if you run that file, I think it asks you for a command, because that's the type of thing. It starts the app and then it recognizes a command or it does not recognize it. We are more or less not bound to this method, but because we have all stuff in the task file here. So for example, as you recall, the stars method, counting the stars is just a task stars. And what this will do is poetry run Python, and then you see I am pointing to the file, and then I have this command, count stars. And for stars JSON, which is just the same thing but outputs a JSON format, this will just have a flag here for the count stars method. So this is an additional parameter. And how this works, I will show you in a minute. So back to the file here. Again, entry point is below main app, and then you have to trigger one of the commands. There's some methods which are used there, but let's just walk through that one command at a time. So we have, for example, this count stars argument or command. This will have a flag here, or parameter, I should say, a parameter JSON format. If that's toggled, JSON format is outputted. If that's not toggled, a normal printed message is outputted. But keep in mind, I was trying to never use print. I hope I did that. If I have not, yeah, I used print only if I use print always with the standard error if I'm communicating to the user. But what I did more often than just print is I used typer.echo, because this is just simply another method to just call or integrate with the user, because print is standard, in the standard terms, print is going straight to the standard out. And standard out, you want to leave that free for every output one wants to pipe into another commands. So like the grep command in Linux, for example, you want to have the possibility to just get the output and not the user, whatever, debug messages. You don't want that. So typo.echo is used, or print with the syserror target. So this is what I was trying to do here. All right, but let's go back to the method. So count stars, it counts the stars of repositories of a user you have to give. Now you can see here, enter the user to count stars for, then we have a simple method which gets us the user. This is a little bit of, there's a tiny bit of intelligence there. It will ask for a input. The input could be 0, so empty, then it will just terminate and say try again. But you can also make a typo and this user is not actually existing in the GitHub database. It will also recognize this and just give an error and exit. And that's about it. So if you have a user, you get that back. And I have to be one more thing is here. Just think about how we are getting data from GitHub. It's by going with the GitHub API. And for that, we need an access token. So the GitHub token is gotten here. So the system gets it here. And I went for the same route as before, but there's some bug here I know of, and I'm not quite sure how to do it. But if there is not a .env file here, then I think it will get an error and you have to do it one more time. So I think this comes from that command being should be here. Yeah. Or even more below. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it like that. I think this will solve it. But if it's not solving that, just create the .env file like I'm doing that here. And this .env file will then store the GitHub access token you can get here. And you will be, I'm sorry. You will be asked to input this command, this parameter, this token, and it will be saved in the environment variable, and then you will have to never really think about it again because it will check the system, and if this key is in the system environment variables, then we'll just load that key and you're set. So what does this key enable you to do? So you can see this method get GitHub token is doing that, and it's used all over the place. We saw that here with the user. So if we have this token, we can just create a user. No, we can create a session, which allows us to get the user database to check if the user exists, for example. And it's also true that you can do that without the token, but you will be rate limited. What does that mean? So, you know, GitHub has to maintain all the servers, and they are giving that not away for free. So they are, but they are not. That means that you will have a tiny set of access possibilities, free tickets to get stuff like that, calls, right? So it will just shut your IP down and say, well, your IP has more than 10 calls in the last hour, so you are done. But with an access token, you get a little bit more. And if you stress that, you will also get rate limited with an access token, and then maybe you have to pay for it or stuff like that. So keep in mind, this is not free, and it also costs money. It costs all kinds of different things because you know, the servers, they don't run from air. They need electricity, they need power, they need resources. They will get broken over time, so be just mindful of it. But also don't worry too much about it for simple codes. You know, I mean, a simple user get a user code is not that much of a deal, but you know, just to keep that in mind, it is costly. All right, so we were at the count stars command. So we get a user. If the user exists, we just fetch the repositories, go through the repositories, get the stars, count them up, and give that out as JSON or as a simple message. And the simple message will also give you a little rating, because I thought, well, why not just incorporate a little fun here? So let's just try it. Task stars, I think it was. So you see, I have my environment variable already set, so I will be asked to just input a username. So in this case, I will just input my username. And no API key found in your environment variable. All right. This is somewhat unexpected. Let me just simply input that. And I have to... now I can do my fussy... Oh no, I cannot do the fussy thing on the screen. I'm sorry. So I will just have to hide the screen for a second. Enter that. And I hope that it is saved now. Well, let's see. I will just do... Let me just try to get it one more time. I will just empty the console and do a new terminal. Task stars. Well, all right. So I have fucked up here a little bit. I'm sorry about the language. There's something I did not do well with the commands. The thing is, I'm not sure why. Yeah. Okay. I need load.env file maybe twice. I'm not sure why I didn't do that here. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Sorry about that. This should work now. So I will just simply go once again with the terminal. And if that's happening, if that's working, I will also just show it to you once again. All right, it works again. Let me just clear my savings here. Yeah, all right. Back again. So you can see now I just entered my username. And my username has 5 stars and 7 repositories, and it says to me that I should do more, which is true. And yeah, this is about it. So if you want to get that in JSON format, you can just go with stars JSON. And I want it once again. I will just enter my username. And you can see you get a little simple JSON formatted string. Which is simple. I am not gonna lie, it's simple, but it serves its purpose. All right, so this is the count stars. Let's see what do we have additionally here. So we have there's too much here. So we have count stars, we have get details. Get details will just get you some details of a user. You can see here that I'm just requesting a lot of stuff from the API, but it just works the same as before. So I can just go with task again and task get details. And this will also ask me to import something. Oh, sorry. All right, okay, I mistyped and we got a different user. But let's see. Well, that makes fun. Let's just look what the manual without any numbers has. 500 stars and 35 repos. Man, I wish I had that. But yeah, so seems like a good guy, and you can see here some details about it. I know, and I'm a little bit ashamed of that, and I'm sure 100% Cody will mock me on that. It's not that pretty. There's far too less icons and stuff like that, but yeah, but you can open the avatar and see what it is. Yeah, so there's a little gimmicks here and there, but it's not that pretty. So you could think of that is a little bit more pretty. But JSON format works well. Let's go for the manual as well here, and you will get just details for him. And this is just a JSON string, which it is. Yeah. All right. And now, dear friends, embrace the suffering of the last command, which is set status. Really, I was hating that. And the problem what I had with that is you have to learn a new language for that, which is GraphQL, which is not that kind of big of a deal if it would be understandable, easy enough, but for me it was not. So you see here that you have to build something like this mutation. So mutation means you're changing something, right? And then you have a mutation, and then you have input fields, and then you have all those different kind of braces. And then the status I found in the API documentation, I did not find that it has to be a status and has to be different kind of things. But really, that is not non-intuitive. But if you have the mutation set, then it's easy, because you can just go in a simple request, go to the GraphQL API URL and just put in a query here, and that was it. And then I just simply also go for a timeout. It's also a super cool stuff thingy that the linter will ask you for that. So if you don't have a timeout stuff, it will mock you on that. And perfectly reasonable. So if it has a timeout, so if it's reporting back with error with code 200, that means everything okay, then it is a success and also returns true. And if that's not the case, then it will just mutate failed. So it gives you a little hint that something is not working. Yeah, I think that's about it for the commands, right? So it's not that much of a deal. We had a GitHub token, which we also know from exercise 1, and how to work with secrets here. We have the set status, which was a pain in the ass. We had the get details. We had something with the rates. So that means that depending on your ratio of stars to repositories, you will get a text message. And yeah, with the count stars as a method. No, as a command. Yeah, we had that. And we had a get user from input. So this is more or less it. But building around that, we had, and you can see that also in the task file. There's, for example, the task publish, or docs publish, docs serve. And yeah, this actually I have to put that into the README. It's rather, yeah, it's not so good to do that. I'm not sure where the hell did I... Yeah, it is in this one. The documentation is in this link. Yeah, so I can simply show that to you. So you can see that you have this folder docs, and in the docs I have some markdown files here. It's rather basic, I have to say, but you have these markdown files. And if you do the task docs publish or docs serve would be a local documentation which you can access with your browser, but I pushed that already into the World Wide Web. And if you could just go to the thing here, I'm not sure why this is, yeah, so then you can see that you have it like here. So yeah, the theme is not good. I think the material theme is quite better. But yeah, it works for now, and you can see source code is there. And so documentation is in a simple form implemented here. And that was cool. And you also get a coverage report, which is not quite, you know, I mean, just because the name is too long, that's just, but it's 40%, something like that. So another thing I maybe want to talk a little bit about is the unit tests. So you saw everything about what I talked about was the GitHub CLI, which is the main file, but I did also have this test GitHub CLI, and I just tested the ratings. If the ratings matched corresponding ratios, stars to repositories, and just if the messages are right. And then I just tested also the status, the set status, and mocked away the get token and stuff like that, and also the request module here, because yeah, you that's a simple rule of thumb how you design your unit tests. They should be executable without internet. So because that gives a lot of hints how tight it should be regarding functionality. And I think I did that better than with the last unit tests, which I messed up. Yeah, but I mean, what I tried to do and started doing was the gets details, and this was just bollocks. Because you would just test if you had the right properties at the right positions. I mean, you would have to mock away the response of a whole user, and you cannot really do that without giving all the details back in the correct format. And that's quite a hurdle. And the same thing with the stars. I mean, you cannot really check that if that's working, because you could check to give a named list of repositories with the stars, and then you can check if you're counting correctly. This is sort of a thing you could do. But on the other hand, it's much work without any purpose, or with less purpose, I think. But maybe Cody will mock me on that as well. Could be. But I will risk that. So, thanks for watching. If you like that, give it a thumbs up. Write your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious about how you experienced that exercise, what you did come up with, and how did you solve it, and what did you learn, what were your kind of sufferings in that process, and what things you think are valuable and worth sharing. So just let me know. Hit me up on Discord or wherever. And I think it was a fun exercise, and I'm glad I invested a couple of hours to just do that. And it really, really helps to just repeat the process over and over again, because you will just, you will know it by heart after a few times. And so, there's no real alternative or quick path to get this right than to just code and code and code and fail and suffer, and also being joyful about it when you manage to do it. And that's just what this is all about. And so thanks for being part of our course, and see you around. Bye guys.